Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily Dose of English. I'm Jessica, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. How are you doing? Are you ready to improve your English? I hope you're sitting somewhere comfortable, maybe with a cup of coffee or tea, because today we're going to spend some quality time together learning something really useful. Today's lesson is all about talking about your hobbies and free time activities. This is one of the most common conversation topics in English. When you meet new people, they often ask, "What do you like to do in your free time?" Or, "What are your hobbies?" By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to answer these questions confidently and naturally. We'll learn vocabulary for different activities, useful phrases to express your interests, and how to ask others about their hobbies. I'll teach you everything step by step, and we'll practice together using shadowing. Remember, shadowing means you listen to me and then repeat what I say. This helps train your mouth and brain to work together in English. Before we start, let me remind you, learning English is like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, it feels difficult and you might fall down. But with practice, it becomes natural and easy. So don't worry about making mistakes. Mistakes are your friends. They help you learn and grow stronger. Today, I'll speak slowly and clearly. I'll explain everything in simple words. And most importantly, we'll have fun together. Are you ready? Let's begin our journey into the world of hobbies and free time activities. Let's start with basic hobby vocabulary. These are activities many people enjoy in their free time. First, let's learn indoor hobbies. I like reading books. This means you enjoy looking at books and understanding the stories or information inside. I like reading books. I like reading books. Now you repeat. I enjoy watching movies. This means you like to see films on television or at the cinema. I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy watching movies. Now you repeat. I love cooking. This means you like to prepare and make food. I love cooking. I love cooking. Now you repeat. Playing video games is fun. This means you enjoy games on a computer or console. Playing video games is fun. Playing video games is fun. Now you repeat. Now let's learn outdoor activities. I go jogging every morning. This means you run slowly for exercise. Let's break this down. I go jogging. I go jogging. Now you repeat. Every morning. Every morning. Now you repeat. Now the full sentence. I go jogging every morning. I go jogging every morning. Now you repeat. Swimming is my favorite sport. This means you love to move through water as exercise. Swimming is my favorite sport. Swimming is my favorite sport. Now you repeat. I like hiking in the mountains. This means you enjoy walking in nature, especially in high places. Let's practice in parts. I like hiking. I like hiking. Now you repeat. In the mountains. In the mountains. Now you repeat. Full sentence. I like hiking in the mountains. I like hiking in the mountains. Now you repeat. Now let's learn creative hobbies. I play the guitar. This means you make music with a string instrument. I play the guitar. I play the guitar. Now you repeat. Drawing relaxes me. This means making pictures with pencils helps you feel calm. Drawing relaxes me. Drawing relaxes me. Now you repeat, I write stories in my free time. This means you create fictional tales when you're not working. Let's break it down. I write stories. I write stories. Now you repeat, in my free time. In my free time. Now you repeat, together. I write stories in my free time. I write stories in my free time. Now you repeat, let's learn social hobbies too. I hang out with friends. This means you spend casual time with people you like. I hang out with friends. I hang out with friends. Now you repeat, we play board games together. This means you enjoy games like chess or Monopoly with others. We play board games together. We play board games together. Now you repeat. Now, let's learn useful phrases to talk about how often you do activities. I usually read before bed. This means most nights you read a book before sleeping. I usually read before bed. I usually read before bed. Now you repeat, I sometimes go to the gym. This means you exercise at a fitness center, but not every day. I sometimes go to the gym. I sometimes go to the gym. Now you repeat, I rarely watch TV. This means you don't watch television very often. I rarely watch TV. I rarely watch TV. Now you repeat, I never play golf. This means you don't play this sport at all. I never play golf. I never play golf. Now you repeat, let's also learn how to express enthusiasm about hobbies. I'm really into photography. This means you're very interested in taking pictures. I'm really into photography. I'm really into photography. Now you repeat, I'm passionate about dancing. This means you love dancing very much, with strong feelings. Let's practice in parts. I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about. Now you repeat. Dancing, dancing. Now you repeat. Full phrase. I'm passionate about dancing. I'm passionate about dancing. Now you repeat. I'm crazy about soccer. This informal phrase means you love soccer very, very much. I'm crazy about soccer. I'm crazy about soccer. Now you repeat. Now let's practice asking and answering questions about hobbies. This is very important for real conversations. First, let's learn common questions. What do you do for fun? This asks about your enjoyable activities. What do you do for fun? What do you do for fun? Now you repeat, what are your hobbies? This directly asks about your regular free time activities. What are your hobbies? What are your hobbies? Now you repeat, how do you spend your weekends? This asks what you do on Saturday and Sunday. How do you spend your weekends? How do you spend your weekends? Now you repeat, do you have any hobbies? This is a yes or no question about whether you have interests. Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any hobbies? Now you repeat. Now let's practice complete answers. In my free time, I like to paint. This tells someone your hobby is creating art with colors. Let's break it down. In my free time, in my free time. Now you repeat. I like to paint. I like to paint. Now you repeat. Full sentence. In my free time, I like to paint. In my free time, I like to paint. Now you repeat. My main hobby is collecting stamps. This means your primary interest is gathering postage stamps. My main hobby is collecting stamps. My main hobby is collecting stamps. Now you repeat. I spend most of my free time gardening. This means you use your leisure hours taking care of plants. Let's practice in parts. I spend most of my free time. I spend most of my free time. Now you repeat. Gardening, gardening. Now you repeat. Together, I spend most of my free time gardening. I spend most of my free time gardening. Now you repeat. Let's learn follow-up questions too. These keep conversations going. How long have you been doing that? This asks about the duration of their hobby. How long have you been doing that? How long have you been doing that? Now you repeat. Where do you usually do it? This asks about the location of the activity. Where do you usually do it? Where do you usually do it? Now you repeat. Is it expensive? This asks if the hobby costs a lot of money. Is it expensive? Is it expensive? Now you repeat. How did you get started? This asks about the beginning of their interest. How did you get started? How did you get started? Now you repeat. Now let's practice responses to these follow-up questions. I've been playing tennis for 5 years. This tells how long you've done this sport. I've been playing tennis for 5 years. I've been playing tennis for 5 years. Now you repeat. I usually practice at the local park. This tells where you do your activity. I usually practice at the local park. I usually practice at the local park. Now you repeat. It's not too expensive if you have the basic equipment. This explains the cost isn't high once you buy initial items. Let's break this down. It's not too expensive. It's not too expensive. Now you repeat. If you have the basic equipment. If you have the basic equipment. Now you repeat. Full sentence. It's not too expensive if you have the basic equipment. It's not too expensive if you have the basic equipment. Now you repeat. My friend introduced me to it. This explains someone you know helped you start. My friend introduced me to it. My friend introduced me to it. Now you repeat. Now let's practice with real conversations. I'll tell you 2 stories about people discussing their hobbies. Listen carefully, then we'll practice key sentences together. Story 1, Meeting at a coffee shop. Sarah meets David at a coffee shop. They start talking about their interests. Sarah says, "Hi, I'm Sarah. I see you here often with your laptop. Are you working on something interesting? Let's practice this greeting. Parts first. Hi, I'm Sarah. Hi, I'm Sarah. Now you repeat. I see you here often. I see you here often. Now you repeat. With your laptop. Now you repeat. Are you working on something interesting? Are you working on something interesting? Now you repeat. David replies, "Oh, hi. I'm David. I'm actually writing a novel. It's my hobby. Let's practice. Oh, hi, I'm David. Oh, hi, I'm David." Now you repeat. I'm actually writing a novel. I'm actually writing a novel. Now you repeat. It's my hobby. It's my hobby. Now you repeat. Sarah responds with interest. Wow, that's impressive. How long have you been writing? This shows enthusiasm and asks for more information. Wow, that's impressive. Wow, that's impressive. Now you repeat. How long have you been writing? How long have you been writing? Now you repeat. David explains, I started about 2 years ago. I write for an hour every morning before work. Let's break this down. I started about 2 years ago. I started about 2 years ago. Now you repeat. I write for an hour every morning. I write for an hour every morning. Now you repeat. Before work. Before work. Now you repeat. Sarah shares her hobby. That's dedication. I'm more of an outdoor person myself. I go rock climbing on weekends. Let's practice. That's dedication. That's dedication. Now you repeat. I'm more of an outdoor person myself. I'm more of an outdoor person myself. Now you repeat. I go rock climbing on weekends. I go rock climbing on weekends. Now you repeat. David asks, rock climbing. Isn't that dangerous? This shows concern and curiosity. Rock climbing, rock climbing. Now you repeat. Isn't that dangerous? Isn't that dangerous? Now you repeat. Sarah reassures him. It can be, but I always climb with proper safety equipment and a partner. Let's practice in parts. It can be. It can be. Now you repeat. But I always climb with proper safety equipment. But I always climb with proper safety equipment. Now you repeat. And a partner. And a partner. Now you repeat. Story 2. At a family dinner. Now let's listen to a conversation between cousins at a family dinner. Mike asks his cousin Lisa, So Lisa, what have you been up to lately? Found any new hobbies? Let's practice. So Lisa. Now you repeat. What have you been up to lately? What have you been up to lately? Now you repeat. Found any new hobbies? Found any new hobbies? Now you repeat. Lisa excitedly replies, Actually, yes. I've taken up pottery. I go to classes every Thursday evening. Let's break this down. Actually, yes. Actually, yes. Now you repeat. I've taken up pottery. I've taken up pottery. Now you repeat. I go to classes every Thursday evening. I go to classes every Thursday evening. Now you repeat. Mike shows interest. Pottery? That sounds relaxing. Have you made anything cool yet? This encourages more conversation. Pottery? That sounds relaxing. Pottery? That sounds relaxing. Now you repeat. Have you made anything cool yet? Have you made anything cool yet? Now you repeat. Lisa shares proudly. I made a vase last week. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. Let's practice. I made a vase last week. I made a vase last week. Now you repeat. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. Now you repeat. But I'm pretty happy with it. But I'm pretty happy with it. Now you repeat. Mike relates his experience. That's great. I know the feeling. I recently started learning Spanish online. This creates connection through shared experience. That's great. That's great. Now you repeat. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Now you repeat. I recently started learning Spanish online. I recently started learning Spanish online. Now you repeat. Lisa asks about his progress. How's that going? Online learning can be challenging. This shows understanding and asks for details. How's that going? How's that going? Now you repeat. Online learning can be challenging. Online learning can be challenging. Now you repeat. Mike admits, it's tough, but I practice every day for 30 minutes. I can already have basic conversations. Let's practice in parts. It's tough. It's tough. Now you repeat. But I practice every day for 30 minutes. But I practice every day for 30 minutes. Now you repeat. I can already have basic conversations. I can already have basic conversations. Now you repeat. Let's talk about cultural differences in hobbies. In English-speaking countries, people love talking about their hobbies. It's considered normal and friendly to ask about someone's interests. Americans especially enjoy sharing their passions. They might talk enthusiastically about their hobbies, even with strangers. Let's practice some culturally appropriate responses. That sounds fascinating. Tell me more. This shows genuine interest in American-style conversation. That sounds fascinating. That sounds fascinating. Now you repeat. Tell me more. Tell me more. Now you repeat. In British culture, people might be more modest about their hobbies. They might say, "Oh, it's just something I do to pass the time." This downplays their skill or interest. "Oh, it's just something I do to pass the time." "Oh, it's just something I do to pass the time." Now you repeat. Let's learn expressions for different skill levels. I'm a complete beginner. This means you just started. I'm a complete beginner. I'm a complete beginner. Now you repeat, I'm getting better at it. This means you're improving. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. Now you repeat, I'm quite good at it now. This means you have developed skill. I'm quite good at it now. I'm quite good at it now. Now you repeat, I've been doing it for years. This shows long experience. I've been doing it for years. I've been doing it for years. Now you repeat. Here's a funny thing about English speakers. They often have hobbies they talk about but rarely do. Someone might say, I love hiking, but only go twice a year. This is normal and acceptable. The important thing is having interests to discuss. Let's practice polite ways to show you're not interested in trying someone's hobby. It sounds interesting, but it's not really my thing. This politely declines without being rude. It sounds interesting. It sounds interesting. Now you repeat. But it's not really my thing. But it's not really my thing. Now you repeat. I admire people who can do that, but I don't think it's for me. This shows respect while declining. I admire people who can do that. I admire people who can do that. Now you repeat. But I don't think it's for me. But I don't think it's for me. Now you repeat. Let's also learn how to invite someone to try your hobby. Would you like to join me sometime? This is a friendly invitation. Would you like to join me sometime? Would you like to join me sometime? Now you repeat. I could show you the basics if you're interested. This offers to teach. I could show you the basics. I could show you the basics. Now you repeat. If you're interested. If you're interested. Now you repeat, you should try it. I think you'd enjoy it. This encourages participation. You should try it. You should try it. Now you repeat. I think you'd enjoy it. I think you'd enjoy it. Now you repeat. Wow, we've covered so much today. Let's quickly review what you've learned. You now know vocabulary for many different hobbies. Indoor activities like reading and cooking, outdoor activities like hiking and swimming, creative hobbies like painting and writing, and social activities like playing board games. You've learned how to ask about hobbies using questions like, what do you do for fun? And how do you spend your weekends? You can answer these questions naturally and confidently. You practiced real conversations between people discussing their interests. You learned cultural tips about how English speakers talk about hobbies. And most importantly, you practice speaking through shadowing exercises. Remember, the key to fluency is practice. Use these phrases in real life. Talk about your actual hobbies. Ask people about their interests. The more you use this language, the more natural it becomes. Here's your homework for this week. Choose 3 hobbies you enjoy or want to try. Practice talking about each one for 1 minute. Describe what it is, why you like it, and how often you do it. Record yourself if possible, and listen back. You'll be amazed at your progress. Thank you so much for joining me today on Daily Dose of English. I'm Jessica, and I'm proud of your dedication to learning. Remember, every minute you spend practicing brings you closer to fluency. You're doing something amazing by learning English. Keep going, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. If you found this lesson helpful, please subscribe to Daily Dose of English. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a lesson. Share this video with friends who are also learning English. And leave a comment telling me about your favorite hobby. In English, of course. Next week, we'll learn how to talk about food and restaurants. You'll learn how to order meals, describe flavors, and have conversations about cuisine. It's going to be delicious. Until then, keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, you can do this. See you next time on Daily Dose of English. Bye for now.